Hi, my name is Adam Fletcher, and for this, the next installment in my series on re-envisioning the roles of young people in society, I want to speak in defense of public schools. Public schools get a bad rap, and understandably so. They aren't perfect places by far. However, I'm a product of public schools, and my daughter's attending them too. The only child of four to graduate on time, my schooling, it wasn't the best thing in the world. I attended a high school with mostly white teachers in an African American neighborhood in the Midwest. They were overworked, underappreciated, and stressed from working in the middle class and low income school that I attended and that they worked in. I get it. I understand. My daughter attends an entirely different machine, a school where it's footed in democratic education values and is open to the broad beliefs of progressive education as we know them today. It's completely different from what I knew, but it's public as well. It's a sad day when our society has effectively stigmatized the very institutions we need in order to rely on to have a democratic society. The fact is that the founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson and all of those guys, Benjamin Franklin especially in Boston, all these different folks who were involved at the very beginning of the country, they believed that public schools should be places where our kids can grow into capable and engaged citizens. I believe in that vision. But I also believe that it should be expanded so that everybody can have that complete engagement, not just the select few. I believe that schools provide the full access to learn and to develop a desire to learn for life, and I think that that's the most important thing that they can do. I think that this is especially true of public schools, because public schools are free and accessible to every single citizen. They're compulsed to go. Students are forced to be there, and I want to acknowledge that. But in our democratic society, that might even have a role. We have to have public schools, and without them, our hope for democracy is limited at best. Private schools are inherently limited because of their inability to grasp the needs of the greater society in which they operate. That's a simple truth. Now, I understand that there's a need sometimes where it seems apparent that public schools have to be abandoned and that private schools are the only way to go. But as conscientious parents, we have to make a deliberate and intentional choice as to whether we're going to contribute to the continued skewering of our public good by promoting and subjecting our kids to the exclusivism, classism, and segregation of private schooling. Every time a concerned, caring, and conscientious parent, a conscious parent, retracts their kids from the public school system, we lose an ally for social justice, student engagement, and equality in public education. We can't afford those losses. I want to pose that rather than choosing not to subject our kids to the inadequacies of public schools, we actively engage in them starting right now. As members of this democratic society with the levers of democracy in our hands, school boards are elected. We all have the opportunity to do something to create better schools. We have the desire to learn to make them better too. So let's do this. Let's learn about our school system, learn how we can actively change public schools, and then do the opposite of putting our kids into private schools. Let's actively, meaningfully, and fully engage ourselves and our kids in promoting the health and well-being of democracy by getting students, parents, and everybody in our community working to change our local public schools. We can take responsibility for these places. And there are a lot of examples to follow. There are a lot of examples to aspire to. We each have a responsibility for democracy, and we each have a responsibility for public schools. And if we shirk that responsibility, we're shirking the very future of all of our kids. Thank you for listening. This is Adam Fletcher. To learn more about me and my work, go to adamfletcher.net.